and Zoe overthink. Ask you questions, leave you on the brink. What's the point of existence? Welcome back to Brains Unpicked.
Hello and welcome back to Brains Unpicked. I'm Rose.
I'm Zoe.
And we, as per usual, are still two 20-something-year-olds who chronically overthink, who spiral into the abyss of this world, and for some reason you enjoy listening to that. So, yeah, come along for another adventure on episode 18.
Amazing.
Shall we get into it?
Yeah, me and Rose are matching today.
Aren't we so cute?
We're
on theme.
We're both in pink.
Yeah.
Which is
Unplanned.
very unlike us as well.
Yeah.
So I just thought I'd let everyone know, if you were an audio listener, we're matching.
Yeah. And it's really cute. So go over and see it on YouTube or TikTok or
something.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how have you been, Zoe?
Oh, I feel pooped today.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been hit by a truck.
Oh man, what happened? Like, is it?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want me to just fire into my minor inconvenience, because it might be related?
Go on. Yes.
So,
on you go.
yeah. So I get hay fever. I burn really easily. I'm a sweaty girl. Probably shouldn't admit to that on the internet,
I'm the same.
but I am.
Yeah.
What was I saying on the walk up as well? There was something else. Oh, I don't like the feel of sun on my skin. It makes me feel like a rotisserie chicken, and it really, really freaks me out. So I just feel like I want to be outside, and I want to be loving the outdoors, and the outdoors does not want to love me. I'm in a toxic relationship with the sunshine and the summer.
Yeah.
And it's devastating, and it hurts my heart and it hurts my soul.
I can imagine. Yeah. My issue with summer is like not a physical one. It's just more like I want to be outside also, but I have, other than to just go to a park or something, I have nowhere to sit and enjoy it. Like I just want to sit in a garden.
Oh yeah, I would love to have a garden.
Yeah, but I've got nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I've never been, touch wood, I don't think I've been overly bothered by hay fever. I occasionally get like runny nose and watery eyes, but like nothing to the degree that some people get.
Yeah, some people get it so bad.
Yeah.
Like I've got it so minor compared to, that's why it's a minor inconvenience and not a major. Like
but I feel like you've only had, like you were kind of on and off unwell during the winter, like having colds, and then I feel like you've had like a 2-week reprieve, and then the hay fever's come and taken you.
I think I must have some sort of sinus problem that I've just never addressed, because I'm just never, like, I'm just on all levels just probably minorly blocked up all the time, and I just live like that.
Yeah.
But it's fine. Listen, it is what it is. But I am minorly inconvenienced by the fact that the sun hates me and repels me when I just want to love it.
If only you could get your prescription delivered. Wouldn't that be the dream?
Have you seen like the old people get, where it gets delivered and it has their pills in the little Dorset boxes for each day, and it lasts like a week?
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's beautiful. It's so good. So like, rather than like all your medications coming in separate boxes, you can get it in like a pre-packaged Dorset box for each time of the day that you take your medication. It comes in like, and it's all done for you. And that's on the NHS.
What? Oh,
Sexy.
excellent. If only they did that for people who are not old.
Yeah, I don't know if you can get it in any other capacity, but I know that my gran and papa used to get it, because my gran used to sit and organise all the medication. She just got a bit old for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so put it in your own Dorset box.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds like the dream. But yeah, I can see how that would be
Aye.
an inconvenience.
What's your minor
for you.
inconvenience, Rose?
So my minor inconvenience is, I've noticed a pattern, right? I use, like, see when I'm washing the dishes, I don't have a dishwasher.
Right.
So I use washing up gloves because I just want to protect my nails, and I don't really enjoy the, like, when the wet food touches my hands. So I use washing up gloves, right?
Are they cheater print?
No, they're not.
Cheater print gloves.
If that was easily accessible
I
in
wonder
a shop,
if it is
maybe
to order online.
I'll have a look now that you've mentioned
I'll
it.
have a look.
I'll have a look. But yeah, I don't know what the hell I do, how I achieve this, but I always managed to rip a hole in one of the gloves, and it's always the same hand. I never feel myself doing it, but like washing up gloves will last like a couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden I'll feel like one of my hands is wet, and it's just one of the gloves is fully let in water.
How long should washing gloves last?
I feel like longer than that.
I've never used them,
Okay.
so I wouldn't know.
Do you just stick your hands in the...
Yeah, man.
I used to do that.
I actually don't
but
like
do
the
your
texture
nails
of gloves.
not, like... Does it not bother your nails?
Clearly not.
Well, there you go. But yeah, I don't know what I do. Like, I wear the gloves, and then one of the gloves always fails me.
I'm so curious to how long washing gloves last.
I feel like they should be relatively... Like, but one of them survives. One of them endures, and one of them gets ripped.
I have no words for that.
And I feel like they're made of plastic, so you shouldn't really be buying them that often.
I think I get microplastics on your skin, and that's the issue. One hand is just basically a microplastic and is becoming a rubber glove itself.
If that were the case,
And
I wouldn't mind that, but I would
that's
still
why-
have the issue of the texture of the food.
Is it always the same finger?
No, but always the same hand.
I think the rubber gloves come to life and it's going to consume you. Right, so my brain's unpicked is skulls.
Skulls?
Skulls.
Human skulls?
All skulls.
Okay.
I think that it's incredibly interesting that we can I don't think regenerate's the word, but like we can think how something looked based on finding its skull, because actually it doesn't make any sense how we can then make up those features.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like how I would like someone to sit down and explain to me how that works.
Yeah, because when you think about it, like, you can see, like, there's the bones of the nose, right? But, there's the hole where the nose was, but they can't see how long this was or what your cartilage looked like.
Because that's my thing, like with like T-Rexes and dinosaurs and stuff. Like, how have they figured out that's what they looked like?
Yeah, I agree, because how do they know? How do they distinguish that this bone came from this dinosaur or this bone came from that dinosaur? Like,
what if they were fatter than that? Why do I never see a fat animal?
But maybe because...
Through skulls?
Yeah.
Why are we making everyone skinny?
They're just fat shaming, that's what's going on.
I knew
Fat phobic.
Because, like, some animal skulls, if you gave me an animal skull and went, what animal is that? I would never be able to tell you it's that right animal, because actually the skull looks nothing like it. So, and like, if the planet lives this long, another billion years, or maybe that's stretching it, but like, however long, say it's another million or whatever, maybe not even as much as that, and there's an extinct animal.
Yeah.
Like, let's go for a rhino, right? Let's say rhinos go extinct, and then we have no more written evidence on what a rhino was because the whole world got blown up or something, and then they discover the remains of a rhino.
The whole world got blown up, and there's still rhino remains.
The only rhino remains. How do they determine that is what that rhino looked like? And what if they just make it up and it's just completely wrong? And actually, everything that we have ever discovered is wrong. How do we know it's true? I don't understand how we know it's true. Like, how do we know that's actually what it looked like? How do we know that's how it behaved? How do we know the T-Rex was like in charge? And maybe I should read a book. Maybe what I should actually do is educate myself. But I don't want educate. I do want educate, but I just want someone to tell me.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to like go and do deep reading about this. But I don't. Can a scientist?
Yeah.
Tell me what's that called? A paleontologist?
Yeah.
How the fuck did I know that? Where'd that come from?
Friends.
I didn't really watch Friends. See, did you watch Friends growing up?
Yeah.
I only watched Friends because my best friend as a kid, she loved Friends. So it was on all the time.
Yeah.
Like, anytime I was at her house, it was on. And I was just like, well, I watch Friends now.
Yeah.
But I have no opinion on Friends.
Yeah.
I would never watch it in my free time.
Yeah.
I seem to know a lot. It's the same with Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And things like that. I seem to have a lot of knowledge about these things that I've never actually really seen, and I have really no opinion about, and I just sit there with like no opinion. But like, some people really, really hate Friends.
Yeah, I don't hate I do, like, I like Friends to the degree of that when I watched it, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
However, it was on so regularly. Not that it was just like, it was one of those things that it was on loads of channels. So if you were
Yeah.
flicking through and
was
you couldn't
always
find
on.
anything to watch,
It's like
that
the
was
Big
like,
Bang Theory.
yeah. So I liked Friends in this. I found it funny when I watched it. Now I'm at the point where I would never seek it out to watch it because I've seen it and I've like, it's not like, if it was just on, I would watch it, but it's not one of my like, oh my God, I'm going to rewatch Friends again. Do you know what I mean? I've seen enough of it.
So
like,
was
I've,
Ross a paleontologist?
Yeah.
Right. Maybe I could ask him.
maybe.
Do you think Ross Geller had to do any research on dinosaurs? But it's not even just
think-
about dinosaurs,
yeah,
right?
maybe email David Schwimmer.
Yeah, that's his name. Melvin. that's
Maybe
my
he
reference
knows
point
lots
to
about
him.
giraffes. I
Yeah.
would do some research on
Do you
giraffes.
know, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, that giraffes and humans have the same amount of vertebrae in their necks?
You have mentioned that to me
I
before.
think that's crazy.
Do you know, talking of skulls, do you know what my favourite animal fact is? So, woodpeckers have evolved to have really long tongues
Yes.
they wrap around their like brain when they're about to peck wood, so that they don't give themselves brain damage by their brain battering off their skull.
Wild.
Like, how is that? Like, they have evolved to do that. Like, what do you mean?
Evolution is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that so many... I genuinely do not understand how humans are the superior superior species, because our evolution feels like it stinks in comparison to animals.
Yeah.
In my
Yeah,
opinion.
and do you-
In my opinion.
And I assume we are still probably evolving, but our evolution, like, I know evolution happens over thousands of years, right? But I feel like we're just staying the same, and it's annoying me, and I
feel like our species, the human species, has just become reliant on other things.
Yeah.
Whereas animals don't.
Yeah, they don't have that.
Do you know what I mean? They're still, and like, so is our evolution stunted because we spend so much time relying and creating on things? I mean, creativity is the best. That's
Yeah.
unreal. But
Yeah.
animals are creative too. But they're not relying on like technology, or maybe they are and they're just not telling us.
Maybe.
Maybe this is all a game.
Probably.
Maybe we are the Sims and animals play the Sims and they just pretend that they're humans.
Yeah. Well, as we know, the birds work for the bourgeoisie. So how
Yeah.
do we know that?
This is conspiracy theories. I believe that we are being lied to by the animals and they're actually in charge, and they just let us kid on that we're in charge and put themselves in. Some of them go, right, who's working the night shift at the zoo? Right, you go to the zoo today,
Yeah.
and I'll kick about here. And it basically just everyone doesn't exist.
I reckon the dogs are in charge, right? And they have
Nah.
given themselves the most cushy life. I'm like, I'm gonna like live in like, I'm just gonna live with a 20-odd-year-old woman, and I'm gonna have her pick up my shit, and I'm gonna have her take me on walks, and I'm gonna have her like feed me dinner every day. That's what I would do.
I do like the domestication of like how some animals just domesticate
Yeah.
themselves. Cause do you not feel? I mean, it makes me feel sorry for pigeons.
I was so you weren't at lunch with us today. I was talking about pigeons today
so
because we
sad.
were talking about crows, and then it got onto and I said it makes me really sad when you see pigeons with sore feet, and everyone laughed at me. But
it
I
makes me sad.
yeah, I hate it.
I really hate an injured bird.
Yeah.
Apart from seagulls, because they can literally
Yeah.
die.
But I think pigeons all the more, because I'm like, we were supposed to take care of you.
I've rescued birds.
Yeah, have you?
So one time after work in one of my old jobs, there was just this injured pigeon, and I started to like try and save it. And then this girl came along with, "What you doing?" And I'm like, "The pigeon's injured. I'm going to try and save it." And we managed to get it into a box with like a scarf and all that. I didn't know this girl. I then got her in my car, and she's like, "I'm going to take it home and I'll phone the SPCA or whatever." And she must have phoned it, whatever. I then bumped into her in a nightclub a few months later or whatever, and she was like, "Yeah, the pigeon died." And I was devastated. I was like, "No!"
There's a cat round here that keeps like beheading pigeons in
my God.
right out the back here. And luckily I haven't seen any. Well, I've seen like the aftermaths, but like horrible, and we just abandoned them.
And I know it's a
we
circle
trained
of
them.
life,
Yeah,
but I'm just like, oh,
I know, but I hate it when you see them like they've got like
hobbly legs.
yeah, and they're obviously never cared for to heal.
Yeah.
And
I remember one time in primary school, we went on this school trip. Like, you know how you went on those trips where you all stayed in like log cabins or whatever, and then done activities and stuff. We done this one, and we were walking along. I don't know where we were, and there was a sheep that had like been ripped open by other animals, whatever, and I burst into tears.
Yeah,
And everyone was just like like people were like, "Hey, that's gross," and going up and looking at it, and people were just consoling me because I saw it, and I burst into tears, and I thought it was the worst thing that I'd ever seen. I don't know how I'm not a vegetarian. My moral compass is so skewed because genuinely burst into tears. But then I won't eat lamb.
Yeah.
Like I've got such a skewed morality when it comes to meat.
Yeah. No, I probably wouldn't eat lamb either. But
when I found out kebab was lamb, I was devastated because I didn't really eat kebab very often. But I had like got to a phase where I didn't mind a wee hoagie, and then found out it was lamb, and I was like, I can never have a kebab again. I can never have a hoagie again. No. This is the saddest thing that's ever happened to me.
That is sad. Do you know what meat does freak me out? Liver and kidneys. Oh.
Yeah.
Do you feel that that's been unpicked?
No. I feel like we went off on quite a big
Would you like
tangent.
to bring it back to the original?
Yeah, so what do you think? Do you think that science is wrong?
Yes. I denounce science.
No, I would just like to. Basically, what I'm asking is, if someone on the internet could just tell me more on how to understand how we know the reconstruction of a skull is correct and how it's not wrong, because I think we might be wrong.
Yeah,
that's how I want to unpick
I can understand.
I want to ask you.
Yeah, like I can understand how they know like what bones come from what dinosaurs. I don't necessarily know how they know what order they go in. But how can they just decide this is what a human's face looked like? Like you see them like the fit things of like they've built
and the thing is
they've like recreated a caveman that they found, but how do they know how big his earlobes were?
I just feel like as the average Joe, I just don't maybe have the comprehension to understand it.
Yeah.
But is it that people just decided that they were smart and they just fooled us all as like a funny experiment, and we just don't know? Also, guys, I got a sick Batman tattoo today. You can't see it. It's there. If you're watching,
it's her first and only tattoo.
It's my first tattoo ever. I don't have any other tattoos. Don't look. It's sick. Anyway, that wasn't relevant. I'm so sorry. So I don't feel like it's unpicked, but I'm hoping that the internet is going to unpick this one for me.
Internet, do your thing,
please.
TikTok comment section. You know what to do. Yeah. Find us the correct people.
Please send me all the right information. Thank you, love you, bye.
Paleontologist welcome.
Yeah, okay, so Rose, let's move on to your brains unpicked. Okay,
so my brains unpicked is, do you have any irrational fears? Because I have an irrational fear that one day I'm going to accidentally cross a picket line. Like, I was always told, like...
This is also on board with the... you're going to get your head chopped off.
Yeah, well, no, but I've dreamt that, so that must be prophecy. I've dreamt that multiple times. It must come true.
Okay.
No, but like, I was always told never cross a picket line.
Yeah. Well, no, you can cross a picket line if you think the picket line is wrong.
Well, yeah, but like, what if I accidentally come across a picket line for a cause that I believe in, but I don't realise what's happening and I cross it?
That would be awful.
Yeah, because then you'll get like hounded. You'll be...
Yeah.
And also, my part of this fear is that one day that I will be part of something that rightly deserves for everyone to go on strike, but I won't be in the financial position to go on strike.
Yeah, well, there's like
I couldn't be.
There has been a lot of scenarios where like it feels like that happens, like people have crossed the picket fence, but it's like picket line. just felt my whole brain seize up there. That was
Yeah, it was visible.
like I was like, what's a picket fence? There's a picket line. Right. I don't know what I was going to say. It's gone. You speak.
Well, do you?
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I've had a headache since last night. I don't know.
Have you ever taken any
I took
painkillers?
painkillers this morning.
Okay.
But I've had an ongoing headache since last night, and
Perhaps it was time for more painkillers.
yeah, and then the cat got me up at 5:30 and 6:30
yeah.
and 7:30.
That's harrowing.
Why has she decided that she needs fed at 5:30 in the morning? I don't get up at that time. Anyway, sorry.
It seems to be
Isn't
getting
about me.
earlier every week, though. It's wild.
I hate her.
But yeah, do you have any irrational fears like that?
I think I do have irrational
Yeah.
fears. I mean, I really have a fear of seagulls.
I feel, is that irrational, though?
Maybe.
I think
don't
maybe
know.
to the extent that you didn't want to go to the student show because there was someone who was
Yeah.
potentially dressed as a seagull,
Yeah.
maybe irrational. But the
I
actual
also-
physical birds,
I also squared up to a seagull on the way here.
Yeah, we were walking past the seagull. She was terrified of seagulls and then threatened a seagull to its face. I was like, can you wait until we're...
I'll threaten them.
Also, I feel like
If they came at me, I'd shove you in front
she's
of me.
very much used me as a human shield multiple times, actually.
I've used a lot of people as a human shield when it comes to seagulls. I can't think of any like really big irrational fears off the top of my head, but I don't know if there's probably loads.
Yeah, I'm just like, I can't be the one that that ruins the whole thing, or I can't imagine like people I know being in the picket line and then me having to cross it and then
I'd
them
boo you.
hating me forever. Yeah.
I'm gonna have a spare, like
I feel like
what are they called? Those things that you put the stick on and the we want more money. We want more money.
picket.
That's what a picket is.
Isn't it?
Is it?
I think so. A picket sign, isn't it?
Is that what
Yeah.
right? Well, I'm going to get a picket that says "Boo Rose," so that the second you step over it, I just come up prepared going "Boo Rose, Boo Rose, Boo Rose,"
No, I'm
and everyone's
so
going to
scared.
chant.
I would just have to perish. I would just have to die.
yeah.
Like, I feel like that'd be the equivalent of, like, you know, when people used to throw tomatoes at peasants.
Yeah.
That you would have to throw tomatoes at people crossing the picket line. But yeah, I don't know what the picket line is going to be, but
Yeah. I just can't believe I
scared.
can't think of any irrational fears.
I also have, well,
I
this
don't
maybe
think there's
isn't
any
irrational.
thoughts
I'm
behind my eyes, to be honest.
terrified of eyeballs and bloodshot
Yeah,
eyeballs
you are
and having
funny about
anything that
eyeballs.
happens to my eyes.
Yeah.
Like, to the point where I used to get, like, I'm just convinced that anything's going to go in my eye.
Yeah.
I'm like, ugh. But yeah.
I'll maybe come back to you on irrational fears.
Okay.
Can you
Yeah.
think of an irrational fear that I have? The thing is, I'm a big scaredy cat, so I don't understand. There's like, I think that I've got like irrational fears when it comes to like words and noises and stuff. Like you guys up here have a noise that you make that like makes me irrational.
I want to
Like
do it.
I'm going to plug my ears in a second, but like I can't cope with it. So 3, 2, 1.
Hi.
I can hear it through. Stop it!
So,
stop!
okay.
Stop! Like
That's called a pulmonic ingressive for
I hate
anyone
it.
that wants
I
to.
hate it so much. Like I think I've got like really irrational fears when it comes to like noises and
Right. Yeah.
things like that. That like see ASMR is a big irrational fear of mine.
Yeah,
I
I'm
can't
not a
cope
fan.
with whispering. It genuinely sends shivers down my spine. It makes me feel ill.
Yeah.
It like recoils my whole body like recoils at the thought of whispering. And you can tell because I've like closed up my whole body, like gripping my hands together thinking about it. Yeah, so irrational fears are like weird ASMR whispery kind of noises.
Yeah. So if a killer ever comes for you, you're gonna hope they're a shouty kind. And
Yeah.
not a-
If they whisper, you're gonna die in my
Oh.
ear, I'll like spew. I'm like, dead. You've done it already.
Yeah. I can see how that wouldn't be
Yeah.
enjoyable.
So now this takes us to our I don't know if it's your favourite, it's my favourite segment, the little book of something, but this week, Rose has something prepared, not me. I've handed over the torch to Rose so that I can learn about something new, which I'm so excited about. I don't know why the gremlin in me just came out there. I do apologise.
Yeah, so basically, welcome to my special interest. Me and Zoe have decided that we're going to learn from each other, and we're both going to force you to listen to our favourite topics in the world.
And force each other to listen.
Yeah. So basically my favourite thing is like mythology and folklore and history. So I have decided that that's what I'm going to like take some of my favourite stories from myth and folklore and tell you about them. So I mainly know about Greek mythology, but I like Norse and like Celtic folklore as well. So we'll maybe do bits and pieces of different like folklore as well. But today I'm going to tell you a story from Greek mythology, and I'm going to try and do it as quick as possible because it's a little bit of a lengthy one because I'm talking about like basically the beginning of the universe to the like origins of most of the Greek gods that people will know about, but I'm going to try and do it like as quick as possible because I feel like if we go into Greek mythology further, you'll need to know some of these characters, but you're not going to have to remember any names or anything.
Because that looks like you got a lot of bits of paper.
Yeah, so I wrote things down because I knew I
Is that all double-sided?
One is.
Oh, right,
It won't take me that.
It's only 2 pages. It looks like
it's
more.
3 pages.
Oh, right,
2.5. But
that's fine.
I reckon it shouldn't take too long. Right.
I'm excited. I'm so excited.
So am I. I can't believe I'm getting, like, I have a captive audience for this because normally you have to rein yourself in. You can't get too wild. Right. So basically, at the beginning of the universe, there is only chaos. And the chaos is the void.
Is that chaos with K?
No, just normal chaos. And then from the void comes the primordial gods. So each one represents the basic elements of the universe. So there were 2 generations of them, but today I'm just going to touch on the first generation. So they were Tartarus, which is the abyss, Gaia, who represents the earth, Eros, who represents procreation, but that's not to be confused with and a second Eos that comes later, who people would recognize as being called Cupid. Yeah.
I know him.
Yeah. There's also Erebus, which is the darkness, and Nyx, the night, which you might recognize as a name of a makeup brand. Yeah. So, as I say, there was more of them who were the children of this generation, but they're not really important. I'm just going to go with specific ones today.
Okay.
So, Gaia, who was the personification of the earth, had a child by herself. Just a bit of immaculate conception there and all that jazz. However, some like myths discount this. They say there was a father, but there's not really a specific dad.
She don't know the baby daddy, and that's okay.
Or you could believe that she was all powerful as the earth and just produced a child out of nowhere. So her child was called Uranus, who would be Uranus as a planet.
Yep.
And Uranus is also one of the primordial gods, and he is the sky. Okay. So Gaia's the earth, Uranus, her son, is the sky. But this is where it starts to get a bit dodgy, right?
Okay.
And it just continues to get more and more dodgy from there. So Gaia and Uranus go on to have children together. Yeah. They love a bit of incest in Greek mythology.
Okay.
So
I only know a little bit about Greek mythology, and it's very basic level stuff. So I'm keen to learn more. But I did forget that there's quite a lot of incest and most.
Like all over the shop.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, Gaia has children with her son. So their children are. Don't worry about remembering all these names, but I will point out the most important ones. Their children are Oceanus, Tethys, Hyperion, Thea, Ceus, Phoebe, Cronus, Themis, Mnemosyne, Creus. I don't know how to pronounce this one. It's like Eoetus. So Phoebe. I know. Like, of all the names. Like, Mnemosyne and Phoebe. Here's my sister Phoebe.
Phoebe's life sucked, man.
I know. Yeah, the most boring of all the... Yeah. So, 11 children, right?
With her son.
What?
That she had with her son.
Yeah, so when you think about it, the
Okay.
dad of these 11 children was technically also their brother, and their mum was technically also their grandma.
Awful. Okay.
Yeah. So that generation of gods are known as the Titans, right?
Heard of that.
Yeah. So Gaia and Uranus, they also had more children. They were the Cyclopses and a race of giants that were called Hecatoncheires. And these giants had 50 heads and 100 hands each. Yeah. But Uranus didn't like them. He thought they were ugly. So he took them and he shoved them deep into the belly of the earth. So as we know, Gaia is the earth. So he shoved them back inside her, basically. Yeah. And that caused her great pain.
I would get why. Your
Yeah.
children being shoved back inside you does not sound right.
No, it doesn't. That's not good. So she then convinced the Titans, her children that are the Titans, to rebel against him and try to overthrow him.
Okay.
So, yeah, they did that. They waited for him to come down to meet the earth, Shagan. And when that was about to happen, they all ambushed him, and Kronos, one of the kids, castrated him. Yeah, so they took
no more busy time, Daddy.
No. They took his genitals and they threw them away, right?
That's so
and
funny.
This is an aside. We can go into this story another day.
Okay.
But when they threw his genitals away, they went in the sea, and from the foam, it basically made Aphrodite. Yeah. But she's
Right.
not really important in this story
For
yet.
people who are listening to this, my eyes are just getting bigger and bigger as the story goes on.
It's
I'm like,
wild. Like, this is like, what were they on? Who was coming up with this? Which is why I love it, because all the stories are just insane. So, after this victory, Kronos then becomes king of the earth. He's basically the first king in the reign of the Titans over the world. And this was actually known as the Golden Age, because everything in the universe just thrived during this time. However, Uranus, after he was ambushed, prophesized the end of the Titans' rule. So he told Kronos that his children would overthrow him in the same way that he had overthrown his dad. So
passing on that generational trauma early.
Absolutely, yeah. So Kronos then marries his sister Rhea.
Of course he does.
As you do. Yeah. So more incest, we're not surprised. They then had 6 children, and these names you might recognize more than the previous ones if you didn't know any of them. So they were Demeter, Hestia, Hera, Hades, Poseidon, and Zeus.
I've heard of some of those guys.
You know them, yeah. So
I'm a big Hades fan, personally.
Me too.
I don't know a lot about Hades other than the Little Mermaid version. I would be keen to know more.
Yeah. Might not enjoy the actual Greek version of him as much.
Okay.
But yeah. So with his dad's scary prophecy in his mind, right?
What is that scary prophecy?
Kronos is a bit of a paranoid guy.
As you would.
As he's having his children with his sister wife, every time he gives birth.
He gives birth?
No, sorry. Every time she gives birth, he immediately eats their babies. If she gives birth, she goes, look at your beautiful
and he
child.
Goes, nom, nom,
and
nom,
he goes, gulp.
Hamsters do that.
Do they?
Yeah. A lot of animals do that if they're if they think that their children won't survive or they don't have enough, they just eat them.
Oh yeah. See, well, that's interesting. So Kronos was worried that his children would survive and they'd be more powerful than him, so he had to get rid of them. So
if he had 6 kids and he ate the 6 kids, how did the 6 kids survive? Are these the weaklings?
No. So
right.
hold on a minute.
Sorry,
here.
I jumped the gun in stories. I'm not
That's
very
all
good
good.
at sitting and waiting.
That's all good. So Rhea, as you can imagine, wasn't very happy that she kept giving birth, so excited to have children,
And he
then
says feast.
immediately gets gobbled up. So she didn't really know what to do, but she eventually went to her parents, who are Gaia and Uranus, and said, what am I supposed to do?
That's so crazy that she's had to go to her mum and dad, but her brother recently castrated her dad, and she ambushed her dad, but she's like, oh, I'm going to go ask them for some advice on my crazy brother husband.
Yeah, and they give it to her. So they're like, basically, you need to trick him. You have to put a stop to this. So her and Gaia hatch a plan. So at this moment in time, he's swallowed 5 of her children and she's pregnant for a 6th time. So she gives birth to her 6th child, who is Zeus, right?
Right.
And instead of presenting him to Kronos, she hides him away in Crete with nymphs who are like nature spirits, and they raise him to hate his father and to plan to overthrow him. And what she does instead is she finds a rock and she swaddles it like a baby, and she takes this to Kronos and is like, your sixth baby is here, and he eats that instead. Right? So meanwhile, Zeus is growing up.
And doesn't he think, this rock doesn't taste the same as my other children?
No, man didn't notice.
So where did the other kids come in then?
So they're just in his stomach.
Right, they're all just sitting.
Yeah.
Like in Among Us.
Yeah.
One of the roles that just sits. Right, okay.
Yeah.
Don't know why I made an Among Us reference to you, as if you would understand what I'm saying, but yeah. Okay.
He is then, so Zeus is brought up elsewhere, grows up fairly quick because he's a god, and he makes a special mixture and he takes it to Kronos. I don't know the ins and outs of like how he does this, how he gets an audience with Kronos, but he convinces Kronos to drink this mixture. And as he does, it makes Kronos throw up, and he throws up the rock and all the 5 kids.
Right. Hold on a minute.
Yeah.
How far apart were all these children, and how were they not dissolved in his belly?
Well, I don't know. That's just the nature. They're immortal beings, remember? But for some reason, they managed to fully grow.
Flaws.
Only now. Only now you're seeing
Only
flaws.
at this point of throwing up your children again.
So, yeah. He throws them all up, and they're all somehow grown up as well and ready to fight. So what they do is they all swear allegiance to Zeus, and they banded together to defeat Kronos and all the other titans, right?
Oh, all of them? Even their own mother?
No, so their mum wasn't a titan. She was a primordial god.
Right, got you. Got you.
So the other titans are, who I haven't really mentioned, but they're like Prometheus and Atlas and...
right, okay.
Yeah. So not really necessarily important to like the ins and outs of this story, but there was other titans that... So there then ensued a war between these gods, who later became known as the Olympian gods, and the titans.
Okay. And this has no reference to Teen Titans Go whatsoever?
No, unfortunately not.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, the war ensues. Basically, the Olympians win, and they lock Hades. They don't lock Hades away. They lock Kronos away in Tartarus. Mm-hmm. So that was the abyss, if you remember. One of the primordial gods. So they don't lock some of the other titans away. They all receive their own punishments for different things, but we can go into that at a different time if people would be interested in that. But so yeah, they've won the war. Zeus then becomes king of the Olympian gods,
yes,
and rules all of them, and then also goes on to marry his sister Hera.
Of course,
yeah. Zeus, interestingly enough, again, another story for another day, but he also goes on to eat someone else to avoid his children overthrowing him.
Why are they all just munching on each other? Was there just nothing to do?
Clearly. But it very much...
There was no crisp back in the day, so they're like, nom my child?
Yeah, pretty much.
Wild.
They were bored of that nectar and ambrosia. So that is the gist of the origins of the universe and the Olympian gods. So that's like the first generation of Olympian gods.
Right.
There is more that come after. But yeah, I thought that would be enough for today. So my question to you, Zoe, is
God.
how many of your children would your husband have to eat before you thought, I need to put a stop to this?
Expecting the question to go that direction at all. Right. Well, you see, I reckon he could eat quite a lot before I cared. I think I'd be more aggravated that I had been pregnant that many times. More than I would that he kept eating
With
the
nothing
children.
to show for it.
Yeah. I'd be like, come on, man. Like, after 4, you're taking the piss out of my body here.
Taking the piss now.
Like, listen, I got it after the first 4. You're paranoid. It's fine. But after that, no, these are my children now.
Yeah.
We're done. I'm keeping the rest of them are staying with me.
Do you think you would have come up with a more elaborate or less goofy solution than I'm going to feed this
them
man a rock?
Probably not, actually. I think that's brilliant. That's perfect.
Yeah.
And do you know what? Everyone should start feeding people rocks.
Yeah. Isn't
to
it
trick
funny
them.
that she had to go to her parents for that
Yeah.
solution though?
Mum and Dad, what do I do? Make him eat a rock. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
4, yeah, I reckon 4, and then I
Okay.
would be
Yeah.
annoyed. After
Yeah.
4, I think that I would then be frustrated at my body is getting put through all this hell, and you just keep go to therapy.
Yeah.
Stop being this paranoid.
Yeah, can
Let
we
me
just like break down the generation?
like I don't want to be pregnant again, and clearly you just want to eat children.
Yeah.
So can we break this up? You can.
Yeah. I think the minute she should have known that something would go wrong was the minute she was forced to marry her brother.
So she was forced to marry him.
Maybe not. I don't know. I imagine
Yeah.
in that
But
kind
my
of-
thought process after 4, I'd be like, time for a divorce.
Yeah.
I can't be bothered with this.
Mm-hmm.
Depends though, because maybe the 5th baby's really ugly, and I'm like, oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Fine, don't worry about it.
Maybe.
But
Who was the 5th baby? Let me look. Where is it? I can't see them.
yeah,
Never mind.
I think 4 would be my maximum of stop eating my kids.
Poseidon was the 5th, so yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, 4. There you go.
I think. How many would it take you?
I feel like maybe 2 or 3. I feel that, but
I feel like 4's even a bit kind, but to be honest, I'm like,
yeah, I think I don't know. I feel like I probably would have got to like 3 and been like, no, you've got to die now.
yeah.
Like, not just I'm gonna trick you. Like,
I feel like if I was in that position, would I have more empathy for my husband than I would my children who don't know what the world is. But then I'd be like, why are we having kids if you're so worried about them being overthrown?
I know, like he couldn't keep it in his pants.
Yeah.
Apparently. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd be like, come on, this is
Yeah.
my beef with it is, why am I putting my body through this all the time for you
Yeah.
to just eat this child?
Yeah. And especially when, God knows, or maybe even coming out full grown. Like,
Yeah.
no, not for me. But yeah, thank you very much for
That was
indulging my
amazing.
Yeah, thank you very
I
much. I enjoyed that.
I'm gonna have to start thinking of better questions. You've just shown me up. That's amazing.
Not at all. At the time of filming this, we have just recently had a full moon.
Yes.
And it was a full moon about releasing things that don't serve you, apparently.
Okay.
So would you rather you lost or had to say goodbye to your complete life as it is now, like everything about this life, to become your best self, or your life stays the exact same but you never feel fulfilled or make progress, and the change happens on the full moon?
So I lose everything.
Yeah. So like
But
your friends, your
but I'm the best, happiest version of
Yeah.
and I still get to make friends.
Yeah, but like maybe you probably don't have your family, and you don't have your current job, you don't have your current like
And I remember everything of the past.
yeah. It's like
And
you're
I just get-
detaching yourself from
I just
that.
get to start afresh, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna just always know that I'm gonna be happy and I'm gonna be fine. And
Yeah.
choose that.
Yeah.
I'll leave everyone behind. I'm
Yeah. Like I
sorry,
think
guys, but like you would do the exact same.
sometimes you just have to do
What's best for you.
Yeah. Imagine like just sacrifice it and just staying the same with no progress
Yeah.
and never
And
being
now,
fulfilled
granted,
just for other people.
But there is people I would dearly
Oh,
miss.
absolutely. Yeah.
But like, if it's better for me,
You've got to do what you've
at the end
got
of
to
the
do.
day, like today I'm born to the day I die, I'm there all the time.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't I make it the best version for
Yeah.
me?
And I feel like if you made the decision to just stay the same and never progress and never feel fulfilled, I imagine that you wouldn't have a very good effect on the people's lives that you've chosen to stay
Yeah.
for. So would they continue to
Yeah.
want to be
Being
in your
alive's
life?
about growing
Yeah.
in all capacities. So
Yeah. I think we're in agreement there.
Yeah.
You've got to.
right, I've come up with something.
Excellent. I'm excited.
So imagine your favourite takeaway. What is your favourite takeaway? What's your favourite dish?
Oh.
And you're starving.
The only thing I don't know. See, you tell me to come up with food on the spot, I'm gonna panic. Right. So the only thing that comes to my mind right now is, I don't think it's my particular favorite, but honey chili chicken from the Chinese.
Let's go for honey chili chicken from your favourite Chinese ever, right? And you're in two scenarios and you're absolutely starving, and this is only, would you rather eat that dish that you've just found in the street? It's opened, someone's clearly been eating it, there's still a fork in it, and you've got to pick it up off the ground to eat it? Or would you rather eat it found in a bin with the rats?
So there's definitely rats in the bin, but on the street there's been, although I know that someone's had it, there's no evidence.
And
that
in the
there's-
bin, it's like completely closed over, not been touched, and it's in a bag in the bin. But the rats can't get to it, and you don't know if they have or not before opening it. And if you open it, you have to eat it.
So that if it's completely closed in the bin, if they had been at it, they would have opened it and then resealed it perfectly.
Yeah. Or they've like ripped into it, but you just
But
don't
I'm gonna
know.
have to. So in the situation with it's in the bin, I have to put my hand in the bin with all the rats to
It's
get
the top
it out.
of the bin.
Okay.
Like it's at the top of the rubbish, and the rats are kicking about, and the rats have been like climbing on it and stuff. But you've either got to eat it out of the bin with the rats, or you've got to pick it up off the ground, half eaten, and you don't know who ate it.
I think I'm gonna choose it unopened from the bin, because it could have been pissed on by a dog on the floor.
Yep.
It could have been pissed on. The packaging was probably pissed on by rats though.
Yep.
And whatever else was in the bin.
And there
But
could
at
be,
least
like,
that's the packaging.
There
I could
could,
remove
yeah, there
it
could,
from the
there
packaging.
could be wee nibble holes that the rats have got into, but you don't know until you open it, and then you've got to eat it anyway.
It's like again, not to bring this back, but it's like Schrodinger's honey chili chicken. Oh, nah, I'm going for out of the bin, because the likelihood is it's not been touched, because at least it's not been
Yep.
opened,
Yeah.
as far as I'm aware. That's what are you doing?
I think if it was warm and I could see that it looks okay, I think I'd eat it off the ground.
Wait, so
I
on the
don't-
ground, is it still in the tub?
Yeah, it's
Right,
not
okay.
like on.
Yeah.
You're not eating it from like it's just rested
Yeah.
on the ground or on a wall and it's opened and like. I think I'd eat someone's half-eaten food before I'd take it out of a bin, because why is it in the bin?
Yeah.
Like, what if it's like they've made the dish and then they're like, have they made the dish and someone's just not collected it, so they've just put it in the bin, or have they made the dish and it was faulty and then they've put it in the bin and then I get unreal food poisoning?
Yeah.
But like, if it's off the ground.
But why was it on the ground? It could have been the same situation where somebody's taken a bite out of it and went,
Yeah.
ugh.
They're drunk and they've left it behind.
Maybe.
I don't know. I think I'm
Maybe
going to go...
somebody knocked it out of their hand. Me and my
Yeah.
friend, after a night out, went to a kebab shop, and she had a burger and chips. And luckily she had the burger in her hand, but she had like the thing of chips, and I turned around and whacked her and all her chips fell out, and I was like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
That was bad.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go for the... I'm not confident on either decision, but I think I'm going to go for the ground, like a grot bag, rather than the bin.
I feel like they're both grot bag
Yeah.
options. You keep making them harder.
That just came from the top of my head.
You keep doing them like they're both heinous.
Is that not the point?
Yeah, no. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna stick with the bin because it's probably
Okay.
not been opened.
Well, that brings us to the end of episode 18. Thank you very much for listening, watching, or however you consume your media. Please leave us a comment or a like or a subscribe, or tune in. You can email us at brainsunpicked@gmail.com, or you can get us on Instagram and TikTok at brainsunpickedpod. Please reach out to us. We are super keen to hear more. Okay, love you. Bye.
It's gonna be good. Bye.
Bye.